It's a Human Resources Committee meeting to order for Wednesday, August 5th at 5 o'clock. Supervisors Trotter, Wish, and Rossi are excused. Everyone else is here in the chambers, and our youth and governance reps are here present as well. Chairman comments, the only comments I had is I hope everybody got a chance to get out to the fair, dodge the raindrops, get out there and support the kids and their animals. It was a well-attended sale and stuff Saturday morning. Attendance a little spotty in the afternoon, but then Sunday was very busy all day long. So other than that, then we'll move over to our youth and governance statements, and youth and governance rep Segola will read the statement this evening.
Hello, we are members of the Racine County Youth and Governance Program, and we will be participating in tonight's meeting. This program serves to empower youth in Racine County by encouraging us to participate in local government. We have agreed to abide by the applicable standards of conduct that would govern any elected county board member. While we are encouraged to participate and are allowed to have a non-binding advisory vote on matters before the committee, all formal action taken by this committee will be based solely on the binding votes made by county board supervisors.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comments. I don't see any public in the auditorium. Is there any public comments online? Seeing none. We'll move on from the public comment period. Item number 5, closed session. Supervisor Miller? Oh, I'm sorry. We need the approval of the minutes from the July 22nd, 2026 meeting.
Move to approve.
So motion is made and seconded to approve the minutes from the July 22nd meeting. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, seeing none. Youth and governance, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Thank you. Now we'll slide over to number 5 for our closed session. Supervisor Miller?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the committee meet in closed session pursuant to section 1985 1G of the Wisconsin state statutes to discuss with legal counsel lawsuits against Racine County. Number 1, the estate of Detello Scott versus Racine County AL. Number 2, the Village of Elmwood Park. And number 3, AT&T. And the committee does reserve the right to reconvene in regular session to take possible action on the items discussed in closed session.
And as common practice, going into closed session recurs a voice roll call vote. I'm sorry. I need a second on the roll call vote. Motion's been made and seconded for the roll call vote. Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Supervisor Spencer?
Yes.
Supervisor Shakur? And Supervisor Myers says aye as well. We're going into closed session.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to deny the claim of the Village of Elmwood Park.
So we have motion seconded to deny the claim for Elmwood Park. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we don't have our youth and governance back yet to ask them their vote, but they may be joining us here shortly.
They weren't here.
All right, so then we'll move along to item number 6. The Finance Department, Director Zimmer authorized the use of opioid settlement funds to pay 25% of the debt service for the Series 2026A General Obligation Promissory Notes in years 2027 through 2046, not to exceed $8,467,517. 2026 resolution action request first reading at the August 10th, 2026 County Board meeting. Director Zimmer.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a follow-up to Director Otto and Chief Deputy Widener's presentation to the County Board. I believe it was last week on the opioid task force and the recommendations that came over the 15 or 18 months that group met. This has been discussed publicly with the board, including when we were authorizing the behavioral health building project in July of 2024. The debt service for this building was issued in March of 2026, so just a few months ago. We used ARPA dollars first, about 15 million, and then bonded 23 million for the remainder of the building. We've determined that 25% of the square footage of that building will be serving an opioid purpose. And so in looking at our opioid settlement, approved uses, approved expenditures, the treatment of substance use disorder or mental health conditions through evidence-based programs and strategies is an eligible expense. So I would propose to the committee and to the board that we utilize this opioid funds to help pay for the debt service. We have the money. This would provide direct property tax relief to our taxpayers because we would not need to levy a property tax levy for the debt service amount. I am requesting not a transfer, but just an action from the board so that I know going into the preparation of the 2027 budget, how much I should be presenting of the tax levy. And then I've laid out the principal, interest in total and how much would be opioid through the maturity of the debt, 2046. And I did want to note that we did just receive an email back from our bond counsel who are in favor of doing this. It contemplates that the county board would decide on an annual basis how much of the next year's debt service would be carried on the tax roll and how much would be appropriated from other sources. So this body does have the authority to approve this.
Questions for Director Zimmer?
Mr. Chairman,
Supervisor Miller.
Gwen, could you review for us? So the bonding is already set for the full amount. So if we introduce this method, which I support, what happens to that original plan?
To the 2027 amount of the 1,673,000.
Actually throughout the history
Yeah.
of the note.
So we would not need to levy for the 418,000. We would still budget within the debt service fund the full amount of the payment because we do still have to make the full principal and interest every year. But we would include within the budget a transfer from the opioid special revenue fund, Fund 49, to the debt service fund, Fund 20.
So as far as I can remember, we've never done something
We
like
have
this
never done
before.
this.
So
No.
I'm just trying to get my head
Yeah.
around how it would work.
Yeah, so I have it set up right now in the budget of, it's similar to the human services levy. All of the general property tax levy comes into the general fund. And then for those special revenue funds, human services, and highway that receive a portion of that levy, we perform an operating transfer
Okay,
to move it over. So this would be like an operating transfer.
okay,
And it would not be a use of reserves because we know how much money we should be receiving from opioid every year. We have all of those settlement agreements. I think that we're slated to get about 800,000 in revenue next year. So we'd only be budgeting the 418,000 and the rest of it would go into reserves or it would go into a subsequently authorized resolution.
all right, well, I think it's a really good use of this money, so I would move to send this to the county board for first reading August 10th.
So we have a motion seconded to send item number 6 to county board for first reading. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the question. Youth and governance, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? All right, we will send this to county board for first reading on August 10th. All right, item number 7, under transfers, we have the Human Services Department authorizing the creation of 1 FTE contracted peer support specialist effective 9/30/26 through 12/31/27, and a transfer of $95,068 in funds from the opioid settlement fund 2026 budget. Action requested for first reading at the August 10th, 2026 county board meeting. I don't see Director Otto here, but I do see another representative that would probably step us through this. So if you'd like to come forward and just for the folks online, introduce yourself and
I don't know if that's on.
give us another little update. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Natalie Minor. I'm the Deputy Administrator of Behavioral Health Services. Yes, Dr. Otto couldn't be here, and Yelena Jones, who is the administrator, is on vacation also this week, so you get me. This position is, yes, a contracted position that we are asking for to be created. It is actually primarily or starting to be funded through a SOAR grant. However, that SOAR grant, which is a grant that we've been receiving every year, is set to be finished at the end of September, which is why we're asking for the funds to be moved over from the opioid settlement fund. This position is also going along with the presentation that Director Otto and Deputy Chief Widener gave to the county board regarding the opioid advisory committee. This position will be attached with our mobile crisis unit to go out and assess and engage those who have recently overdosed and get them into services. And as we've been talking about tonight, hopefully stop some of these trends from happening. So that is what this position is supposed to be. It's the goal of this position.
All right. Thank you, Natalie.
Mr. Chairman,
Supervisor Miller.
support the idea. I'm just wondering, I assume you're suggesting a contracted position because we don't know how long the funding might
Mhm.
extend. But do you anticipate that will make it more difficult to fill the position?
No, we currently have 2 peer support people in our outpatient clinic, and those are both contract positions also.
Okay,
So not currently. I guess we'll have to kind of see who we get in terms of resumes and go from there. So
thank you. Well, I would move to send this to the county board for first reading August 10th.
So we have a motion seconded to send this to county board for first reading. Any further discussion? Supervisor Spencer.
Thank you. So you see this as a long-lasting position?
hopefully, we will be able to bill it under the crisis services umbrella. They allow us to have peer supports in there, and the state is actually really encouraging peers to be put into crisis services. So we will be able to get revenue and hopefully offset costs in the future too.
So at some point, the 3 positions or this at least would perhaps stop being a contracted service and become a regular county
Possibly.
employee. Possible. There's always that possibility. All right, thank you.
Supervisor Shakur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question to the finance director. If we approve this, which I support, but what would be left in the settlement fund for the opioid?
Supervisor, do you mean just this item or the debt service, this item and the next agenda item to be considered?
Whichever is easiest to answer.
I will preface this by saying that we continually get more and more settlements, but as of the amount that we know right now that we're getting, let me just do some quick math. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to answer
Sorry.
that. We are slated to get 14.4 million. So if you do that minus the 8.4, just over 5 million plus any of the interest that we've earned.
Thank you.
And then we'll continue obviously to get more settlements as the courts consider things that are still in the docket.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so we have a motion seconded on the floor to send this to county board for first reading. Any further discussion? Seeing none, youth and governance, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will send this to county board for first reading. Under transfers, letter B, Natalie will probably have you just touch on this one again. This again was, from Human Services Department, Hope Auto authorizing an implementation of the Mental Health Symposium and transfer $3,000 in funds from the opioid settlement fund 2026 resolution. Action requested first reading at the August 10th, 2026 county board meeting. And this also was kind of brought forward to county board last meeting with Director Otto and Chief Deputy Widener as well. So
Yes. So yes, the Racine County Health Department received a grant called the Injection Drug Use Grant. Part of that grant is to educate and make awareness around IV drug use, as well as other mental health and substance abuse issues in the county. One of the events as part of this grant is to hold this mental health symposium. The goal of the symposium is to bring professionals from around the county who are working with mental health and substance abuse to educate them on local issues and trends that we are seeing. So this money would braid funding with that injection drug use grant in order to cover the cost of the symposium.
Supervisor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So are you anticipating this is going to be like a one-day event?
Mhm. Yes.
And I believe if I can expand a little bit, I know that it was our last public health meeting that we had for the Board of Health, that this was something that was kind of tossed out there to our group, to the board members to see if there was some support behind it, and there was, and some of the other counterparts and stuff in, the other areas around here, surrounding communities and stuff, and counties were on board with this too. So this is something that I think that's going to gain some traction. I believe they're looking at Roma Lodge is where they're looking to host it. I'm not 100% about the date, but it looks like it should be, they're trying to have enough space to have a very well-attended event for this.
I believe it's scheduled for October 7th.
Yes.
And they're working on a panel of experts to come and present issues to the mental health professionals in surrounding areas. So,
And Chairman, if I could just add, save the date did go out from the Human Services area. It is on October 7th from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Roma Lodge. They're still working on the agenda and registration, but they wanted to get that date out there on people's calendars.
All right, thank you. I wasn't quite sure about the date, but I knew where it was. Supervisor Spencer.
So just, is this gonna be like a statewide event, or are you getting speakers from around the nation, or what do you expect?
well, like Gwen said, we are working on the agenda still. Currently, I know that the people that they have asked to be on the panel are local experts. It's like Dr. Galvez from Ascension, who's also BHS's medical director for the SUD residential and for outpatient clinic. I believe Dr. Ortel, who is our psychiatrist in outpatient clinic and our CSP program, as well as others. I don't know all of them off the top of my head.
Okay. So it's kind of a community event, but for the health, the
Mhm.
mental health.
Yes.
community. All right.
So we have a motion on the floor and.
Do we? I would move that we
So
send this to
then
the
I'm looking
county
for a
board.
motion from the floor. So we have a motion from Supervisor Miller and a second from Supervisor Secor to send this to county board for first reading. Any further discussion? Seeing none, youth and governance, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will send this to county board. Thank you, Natalie. All right, under transfers, letter C, Public Works Development Services, Raleigh Beam authorizing acceptance of a donation from the Watershed Protection Committee of Racine and transfer of $42,270 within the capital 2026 budget for the Kruger Farm lease site improvement. Action requested for first reading at the August 10th, 2026 County Board meeting. I see Chad Sampson here. Would you like to bring us up to date on this, Chad? Thank you.
Hello, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Kruger site was set for a $70,000 bond improvement project, which included the build of a pavilion. After the approval, we started looking into pavilion costs and whatnot, and then the size became an issue. So we increased the size to a 30 by 60 pavilion, which I knew would increase the cost, but I thought, let's just see what comes out of this. The 30 by 60 is to have an event with about 100 people that would be ADA compatible. So the cost for just the structure came in and it was $48,615. It's Legend Structures out of Florida. They're just going to deliver it, but somebody has to build it. So we worked with purchasing to get the price for the build. And we had 4 bids come in. The lowest bid came in at $63,655. So I was a little surprised by that. But anyways, the total cost of the project is now $112,270. So being a little bit short of money, I told Raleigh that maybe I could get some donors to maybe donate some money toward the cost. And the Watershed Protection Committee has been a good partner with Racine County for the last 9 or 10 years, our farm group. They lease the land at Case Eagle Park, and they realized that if they have a pavilion at the Kruger site, they might be able to utilize this site as well for their future educational events for students, other farmers, the general public, elected officials, and whatnot. So I told them that I was short $42,000 for the build of the project, and they generously offered to give Racine County $21,000 or half of that amount to cover the build. So with that, and I found some money in the parks paving account from 2023 that hadn't been used yet. So those two amounts would equal the $42,000 that we are short.
Questions? Supervisor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Chad, we had budgeted this year for this, but we're 42,000 over.
The budget, yes, correct.
Okay. So, and this is like a permanent structure?
Yeah, it's a pavilion that will be out at the Kruger site, 30 by 60, 8 feet high. Yes.
All right. Well, I think that it's very generous of the Protection Committee to help us out on this. So I would support this and move to send it to County Board August 10th.
So we have a motion and second to send this to county board for August 10th for first reading. Any further discussion? Chad, I got a couple of questions. Hopefully you can help me. How did we get to this point? Was this something that how long have we been working on this project? As far as this has been something going on, we've been planning this for a year or?
I would say the ideas started around budget time 2025, so maybe May, June 2025. Raleigh and I were talking about the site and how it could be improved, and there's a lot of things that we're doing out there besides the pavilion. We're using a lot of federal grant money and state grant money to fix up the wetlands, the woodlands. We actually met with the DNR to look at the woodlot out there on Tuesday morning this week. there's a lot of things going on out there, but I'm trying to use grant money. Usually doesn't pay for structures. Capital money pays for structures. So that's why we kind of went this direction.
And I was just kind of curious if this started in the Ed Loop committee or if this started just in Public Works. Has Public Works been involved in this?
This was actually, it was actually located in the parks budget at the time because it's not really a park, but it's as close as we come because land conservation usually doesn't have too many capital projects.
Right.
And that's where it kind of got just nestled into the budget. But it was discussed in committee.
Sure. And the reason I'm just kind of asking is just trying to figure out how we come up with the original paperwork and stuff that was provided is like for $63,665. And I'm assuming that is just for the structure itself.
The structure,
The note that's in here, just because through the RFPs, just 63,665. So I was wondering if
that's the build. Ford Construction, that was the lowest bid that came in, the 63,655.
okay. So then the additional 46,000 was for the building itself from.
Correct.
Okay. Was it that much significantly cheaper to outsource this from Florida versus someplace locally?
For the structure, we were looking around and that was the cheapest one that we could come up with. That was what the quality that we wanted without getting too lesser of a quality, but not high end either. So.
Okay. And then just one follow-up question. If this project gets off the ground and is built out there, then our Parks Department is going to do the maintenance and stuff out there to maintain this going into the future? Or is that something that the Watershed Committee is going to take care of?
I believe the Watershed Committee is going to have some interest and definitely have some assistance with help out there. But I think day-to-day maintenance, like if we're going to have events on a weekend, the mowing and whatnot around the pavilion will be the Parks Department. Land Conservation Office will probably have an operating budget for the Parks Department to pay them to do this work since it'll be a land and water conservation site. But it'll be built out in our operations long-term. But again, some mowing, a few $1,000 for the year.
Okay. I was just kind of curious how it was just moving forward. So thank you. Any other comments or questions? We have a motion and second to send it to county board for first reading. Youth and Governance, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll send it to county board for first reading.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item number 8 is from the Finance Department, Director Zimmer, authorizing and adopting of a financial policy manual 2026 resolution action requested first reading at the August 10th, 2026 County Board meeting. Director Zimmer.
Thank you, Chairman. So I became the finance director in 2021, and this is one of my very first initiatives that I wanted to take on. We have a lot of financial policies that are sitting in lots of different areas, including the budget book, on our website, just in random places. So my staff and I began compiling it all together, doing research, working towards modernizing it. Some of the things that came out of that was the update to the investment policy, which this committee approved, I think, 2 years ago, the debt management policy, which came before the board in March of this year. So I wanted to bring a policy manual to this committee so that you can see all of the things that the finance department is in charge of. This is similar to the HR policy manual. This kind of gives guidance about everything that's going on. But also for continuity of operations to make sure that if I were to leave or any of my staff were to leave, that we are always on the same page. We know exactly what's expected of us and how to move forward on our tasks. This has about half policies that already existed, including our travel policy and our P card policy, which is the county issued credit cards. And then half that I created that didn't previously exist. I took examples from the National Government Finance Officers Association. I looked at other counties, other municipalities, best practice of what they're doing. I just wanted to call out some of the items that hadn't existed previously, mostly in the budget area, outlining how we pursue an amendment to the budget, what our plan is when we're looking at budgeting for revenues or for expenditures. Capital planning introduces a 5-year capital plan, which will be unleashed in the 2027 budget, as well as long-term financial planning, again, will be included in our 2027 budget. It talks about our reserves, our sales and use tax, capital assets, how we do grant reporting, multi-year maintenance agreements, all the things that my department is in charge of overseeing. So I would happy to answer any questions or dive in further into specific policies if you'd like. And I did want to note, there are policies that are in the budget book. They will no longer be in the budget book. They'll be maintained in this policy and be brought to the committee for updates similar to the HR policy.
All right, questions? Supervisor Shakur.
Just a quick one. You said the budget book and you said something to start with a W. WS. What was it? In regards to this grant reporting and stuff, you said it was in the budget book, the investment policy and
Yeah, I mean, some of these policies are in our ordinance. Some of them are in the budget book. Some of them are on the website.
there it
Some
is.
of them are
Got it.
in sub policy. They're
Website.
literally all over the place.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Supervisor Spencer.
Thank you. So my question is on 816. Looking at like the revenue leases and
Mhm.
the local, like the specific names of places
Okay.
and things that can change. So is the policy book a place to have specific, like
Named leases.
the names on the leases? Yeah, you know what I'm after is like,
Yeah.
why be so specific
Sure.
in a policy manual?
Yeah, so the ordinance right now says that any lease, revenue or expense must be approved by the county board. All of these items have previously come before the board by a resolution. So we have authority. They've been long-standing leases. If we had a new one, which you'll recall the training grounds with Lee's Deli was a new one earlier this year, we bring it before the committee, add it to this list.
That's what's like.
Yeah, and this
Is
currently,
happening.
this currently exists in the budget book. So I
Okay.
literally copy and pasted it over. So if we were to have any changes, if a vendor name changed, somebody didn't want to lease from us anymore, we would remove them from the list.
So you're changing the policy book
Yes.
with a needed approval again, or just like,
The resolution that will come before, I mean, if this goes tonight, the resolution that Corporation Council has drafted says that this committee is the approver for this policy. So I would come to you. I'm kind of thinking it would be every budget season, just kind of like for an annual review, more frequent if we need it. I don't think a lot of these are going to change very often, though.
all right, thank you.
Supervisor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is just like monumental work.
Thank you. I feel this is like my proud baby. I've worked very, very hard on this. for the last couple
Obviously,
years.
yeah, I think we're very grateful to have all this together. Just a question on, in keeping with our history of transparency. I think this should be on the website somewhere.
It will, and it will be linked in the budget book.
Those are my two thoughts, but you
Yeah.
already thought of that, so.
Yeah, it'll be on the finance
it-
department side, similar to the HR policy manuals on.
Is there a
HR.
way, so when none of us is around, that would continue? Some way to make that?
I believe that language is included in the resolution.
Oh, is okay.
I can double check that with court counsel. We'll have it prepared for first reading.
Yeah, I think that, just ask the committee, but I think that would be helpful to have this available to the public on our website. And then, as Gwen said, have a link to it in the budget every year.
Yeah, you're gonna laugh at me, but this is a requirement to win the budget award, to include the link to the
Oh.
policies.
Was there some discussion of this with our bonding people too?
Yeah, I did provide them the the debt management and the investment they wanted to see. They were also interested to see the capital
Mhm.
planning, the CIP, and the long-term financial planning.
Yeah, so this should make them happy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna shoot them over this whole document when we go for our
Mhm.
next bonding.
Well, I'm just, I think the committee, the county board, the public should be very grateful for all this work that put this together, and I commend you for it. And I would move to send it to county board for first reading.
All right, so we have a motion second to send this to county board for first reading. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, youth and governance, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we will send this forward. Thank you, Glenn. All right, item number 9 is communication and report referrals from the county board meeting. Looking for a motion to receive and file.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded to receive and file. Any further discussion? Youth and governance, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Committee, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we'll receive and file. Item number 10 is a staff report, just a notice about the meeting scheduled for August 19th, 2026 has been canceled due to the event of the Brewer game for the county and the employees. And then our next meeting will be September 2nd, 2026 at 5 o'clock unless something comes up that we need to meet prior or on our secondary date. Anything else for the betterment of this committee?
Second.
All right, we had motion seconded adjourned. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.